We're at ProWatercraft. This is the Yamaha two-stroke Superjet, and this is our wedge rear sponson for this model. Now from 2007 to 2020, the two-stroke Superjet hull was basically the same. So this sponson will fit those years, 2007 to 2020. So I'm going to show you how to install this product right now. Here's a good look at the sponsons that'll come in this kit and the hardware and instructions you should receive. Here's the tools we suggest. You got yourself a 13/64 or a 1/4 inch. You know, there's the decimal, there's the millimeter. We have a 4mm Allen key and a 10mm wrench. A drill gun, of course. We like to suggest some grease. I like that grease right there for the stainless steel hardware. And then the silicone is our proven silicone. You can get this on our website. And you can also get gloves on our website now. Get a bag of 10 pairs, 5 pairs of gloves. There's a look at what you'll need to install this product. So one of the first steps to installing this sponson is you'll want to remove the hardware that's holding on the corner bumper. That'll include the bolt back here as well. And then if anything is underneath the bond flange here, like if you have silicone from previous sponsons of ours or anybody else's, you want to make sure that underneath the bond flange area is clean and free so the sponson can tuck up in there. So this sponson it's longer than our first version, and so you'll notice that there's no holes drilled. We have a couple of different markings, but basically what's going to happen is you're going to get the sponson to fit up inside of the bond flange as best as possible, making sure that the corner back here is up and then the front is up. You might want to have another friend help you, or if you have a clamp, you really want to squeeze this thing up in there. Make sure none of the screws are diving into the sponson or keeping the sponson from going all the way up. It's very important that you get it to fit all the way up into the hull without any interference. And so the next step is going to be, we're going to be drilling through this with the suggested drill bit. It's either a .200 or a 5mm drill bit. So you'll want to drill in, and then we're going to open up that hole, and then we're going to put the bolt through, tighten it down, and then we're going to go to another one. We're kind of systematically work our way down. Now, on the Yamahas, they have these Phillips head screws that go into the bumper and also kind of attach it to the hull. Sometimes they stick a little bit in there. You want to make sure, if you see any marks, you'll need to kind of make a little clearance for those. But first steps is just making sure that it fits really well and there's nothing underneath that's impeding with the fitment. So there's a little look at what you should expect. So I'm going to start right now and trying to get some hardware in here and show you those steps. So I'm going to take my drill bit. Again, it's a .200 or 13/64 or 5mm. It's all the same. Okay. So you're going to notice here I drilled into the sponson a little bit, right? I definitely drilled into the sponson. So we're going to run our bolt in here, and the bolt is going to grab the material and tighten this down. So we're relying on the material to create threads to tighten this into place. So if you're running what the torque spec is, you know, you can't just hammer down on it, but you do have to have it pretty snug. Generally, when this plastic seems like it's starting to squeeze out from the washer, that's about the right amount of torque. So you want to make sure that you don't overdo it and strip out the threads, because you are basically threading into plastic. So you want to be cautious there. Now, if you want to step down the drill bit a little bit because you're not confident in it and do it that way, you definitely can. But I would definitely suggest starting off easy and getting a feel for it. I think you're going to see once you do tighten it down that the threads in the material work quite well. And it should squeeze the plastic just the right amount for it to be on there. Now, when we go for final install, we're gonna use some silicone to make sure that this really does attach well. But it is your responsibility to make sure that these threads or these drill holes go in clean so the bolts give good threads into the material. You'll notice also that the sponson kind of rocks this way and that way. You definitely want to rock it all the way this way. That'll push up this little tailpiece that kind of heads towards the nozzle. You want to make sure that that is up and tight. You don't want it down. You want to make sure that it's up all the way. That'll put the sponson at the correct angle for the best handling. So I'm really kind of, I'm squeezing the sponson and you can see I'm going in about that much. Our bolts are, whoa, slip your fingers. So we're going about that much there. So. All right, let's move on. So on the front bolt, this is the one where it's not going to be threading and tapping into the material. You're going to actually put a nut on the backside, but you want to be really careful. You want to get that bolt, you know, within an inch to the front of the little lip there, the blade. So what I like to do is take a piece of tape. So I'm going to put a piece of tape on the inside here. Let's see. Stick my head. Yep. The tape's going to kind of give me a little bit of a guide to wrap it around. Put it right there. So for me, that hole's a little too close. I think I'd feel a lot more comfortable coming over just a little bit, but yep, so I may try to go like right there, but this is kind of where you need to be a little creative. Maybe you'll put a little bit bigger washer to cover that hole. You obviously don't want multiple holes showing, but you can't be right on the edge of that sponson anyway. So you need to bring it back in. I'm gonna put it right there. So this hole, you actually kind of want it to be a 6mm or 6.3mm. So that's what I'm using right now. It's 6.3 millimeters or 0.245, quarter inch. Okay, so I'm gonna put that through with a washer, and then we're gonna put a nut on the backside. Now, stainless on stainless hardware is notorious for always binding. It's very possible to have new hardware that has a little burr, so I always like to put a little bit of grease. So I got grease on it. I'm gonna sneak the, now on the backside, I'm not using a washer. I'm just gonna put the nut back there. There really isn't a lot of bolts sticking out. And to be honest with you, I don't like a lot of hardware hanging out in this part of the sponson, not only for catching my hand, but just for disturbing the water. I like how the nut sort of sinks into the material on the inside. So it's important that the front of this blade doesn't catch any water and rip off or break or do anything weird to the handling. So. At the back here, where there's like a third bolt, all right, so here's the look at the sponsons, and I'm gonna go right underneath here, show you how it tucks inside of there. You're gonna see that we have all this area here that doesn't look like it's fitting. Now, the sponson is designed to have this. This is actually gonna give us another edge for grip. So, my next step will be removing the sponson. We're gonna put a little silicone underneath this surface here to kind of just seal up this front edge from the water hitting it. So I removed the sponson just to kind of inspect the holes that I drilled, and looks pretty good. You can see that one there, and then you can see the little nut kind of imprinted into it. That's about the right distance off of the front there. And then can definitely inspect my other holes, kind of see the threads in there. Everything looks pretty good. There's a look at what I got after drilling. Now, you do want to be careful, because if you make the hole too big as you're drilling, the threads aren't really going to work. So you may have to make a new hole off to the side if you didn't get that one right. So if you're struggling with drilling the hole and running the bolt in to make the threads, you might want to go down in a drill bit size to make sure that you do get a good adequate kind of bite, or it feels tight on the ski. So I'm going to do some silicone, and then I'm going to do my final install on this side. Just a little around there, helps the water pressure. I'm gonna put a little bit in these holes there as well. No big deal. I may also put just a little bit on this little tail there, just so it kind of grabs up into place. I'm not really cranking down on them right now. I'm just sort of putting them in. Kind of want to go back and tighten them once I get all of them down, all of them installed. All right, so I got the front one tight. I'm gonna come back and tighten these. Again, I'm sort of watching the washer squeeze into the bumper, and you sort of can see it sink in. It doesn't need to go anymore. You can see the sides of the bumper kind of swell out, so I'm just gonna leave it there. Yeah, so you can see a little bit of, just kind of wipe my finger there. Also there. You can see got a little bit of bolt hanging out. Not too crazy about that. You know, maybe a shorter bolt or whatever might be a little bit better. But there's a quick little look at this setup. So that's pretty much your install. I use a total of 5 bolts. Now, because you're drilling the holes and putting the hardware wherever you want, you have the choice to, if you don't want that bolt there, you want it there, you want to add another one there, you can do that. Absolutely must suggest that you get a good one at the front, about 1 inch in or so. And then you definitely want to make sure you get the ones on your corner bumper if you're running these corner bumpers. If you have stick-on bumpers, of course, you can do something different there. But at least get yourself at least 4 down the side, and it would be good to have 1 at the back. And you saw that I siliconed it on, so this setup is ready to go ride. Now you'll want to repeat those steps for the other side. So that pretty much concludes our install. Now you're gonna find a lot of products for your Yamaha, Kawasaki, Sea-Doo. We have obviously our own ProForce jet ski. We have all kinds of handling products for your stand-up. So check out our website, check out our merch, follow us on YouTube, like us on Facebook. Appreciate all the love and subscribing that you guys do. So stay tuned, we got more good stuff coming your way.